so the first thing we're gonna do, so assuming that you had all your clips in, you had them kind of in the order that you wanted, you trimmed, you did your ins and out points, you could apply color correction. I would like to see nice contrast, so the images shouldn't really be flat and kind of washed out looking. Unless you have like dialogue in your video, I do want to have your audio deleted, and actually that's something else we'll talk about today is just bringing in some stock audio. Right, so right now we're just going to go into titling. Right, so right now, this part of the video, what would this be an example of? What type of video movement? Maybe some dollying or panning? Right? So what I'm going to do is just kind of pick a point where I want my title to be, and I'm going to go up to the top here, and on this title pull down, I'm going to say new title, and you have three options. A still title would just be static text or not moving. Rolling title would be going up and down, and crawling is going to be left and right. So we're going to make these moving. All right, so I'm going to do a default crawl, and I'm going to call, you can name this whatever, but I'll just leave this as title 1. Right, and what they do then is you have a screen that shows you basically what the video frame looks like at that point, and then you have all these options to really customize your titling. You can create shapes, you can make pen paths and then type on path. You can make vertical type, all kinds of elaborate stuff. Right now we're just going to do a basic text box. So I'm selecting this text tool. I clicked and dragged to make a text box, and I'm just going to then type in here panning and dollying. Now I don't see it on my screen, right? Nothing is appearing. By default, your text size is 100. So if I do a Control A, and then if I click and drag, I'm going to decrease this size here. And that's what's kind of cool about, I think, some of these menus in here, is that you don't have to type in a value. If you hover your mouse over, like where this text size is, you can actually drag it. So you can see what that size is, as opposed to typing in a number and kind of going up and down. So I'm going to type in my value. I'm going to choose like I like one of these serif fonts because they are a little more noticeable. And then I can kind of just look and see. Now what would be bad about this type of text here?
You can't see that.
You can't see, right? So what I think I'm going to do, and because if I made it like a darker font, then it would probably get lost in here. So what I'm going to do is over here on the side of my properties is I'm going to add an outer stroke. So we see stroke, add, and then I can actually increase the size of that too. So now this text is going to stand out, and we're going to see it applied to there. All right. So that's the first part of our crawling text. All right. So now we have this text created. Now to kind of apply the crawling effect so that it starts off the screen and ends off the screen, we're going to press this little button up here. All right, so right up here, this little double arrow, if we select that, you can actually change the type of title it is in here. So if you had started off with a still title and wanted to change it to a crawling, you can do that in here. I think crawl left makes sense because we read left to right, but I mean, if you find that you did want to change the direction, you can do that in here. What I do want you to do is select here, start off screen, and we're just going to leave end off screen, I think, because that way, what's going to happen, it'll come onto the screen, and then it's going to stay there. And what I also find is that if we change this post roll, actually let's see what it looks like before doing any of these other things, and I'll explain them. So what I did was I pressed this button here, our roll and crawl options, and I'm going to just check off start off screen. All right. So we applied that setting. Now we're going to close this title editor, And now you'll see that you have a new asset in your project panel, which is called, in my case, Title 1. So if I now drag this onto my timeline, and notice I'm putting it above my video layer. What would happen if I put it down here like this? Well, I would see the text, but would I see the video? Yeah, it would overwrite the video. So I'm going to put it right here, and now let's see if we play this, what our text does. So it's going to crawl on, and then it just disappears. All right. I think we want to see that kind of show up a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I want it to stay there a little longer. So I went back, I double clicked on my text for my title asset, and go back to these options. And now if I do a post roll, your post roll is basically like holding that frame for however long you tell it. So typically our frame rate is about 29 frames per second. So if I do like 60, I believe that should hold it for about 2 seconds. So let's try this again. So now if I press play, so there we go. Now it stays there and then it disappears. All right, so again, after you create your text or your title, you can go back in there and under your roll and crawl options, we're going to set our post roll to 60. Now what do you think would happen if I pressed end off screen? What would happen then? Would we still get that pause in the middle? I think you will. Let's see if I'm right. So it's then we lose the pause. So let's leave it on. Yeah, that becomes a little complicated. The easing out, I think, will help with that too. Like I think maybe if we wanted to end it off screen, we could probably try, actually, so yeah, it grayed out my post roll now. So let's see if we try that. If we do like a 30 and a 30, you can kind of get some different effects here then. Yeah, you can, as long as you have a fill and a stroke. The easing didn't really do what I wanted to. So let's just stick there. The best effect is our ending off screen. All right, I think that's the best effect for now. So if we have it come on, it's going to pause for a couple seconds and then it disappears. All right, so that was our crawling title, which everybody got there. One more thing about these titles, you can move these anywhere along your timeline if you want them to appear at a different time. You can also make them, if I wanted this title to happen quicker, how should this appear as my duration here? Should this be a smaller shape or a bigger shape? If I want this to happen faster. Smaller. Why? Because it's going to happen over a shorter period of time. Right, so you can adjust the speed of your title by just dragging the edge of that. All right, now, when you do that though, then we don't get, with that post roll, it's not really gonna, it doesn't have enough frames to do that. So I think, don't make them too small. I think it's nice to have the title up there for, a decent amount of time. All right, so that's our crawling title. So now at the end, we're going to do some credits. So if you can just move your playhead to the end, so that's our blue box here. All right, and now all we're going to do is a new title, and default roll, and I can just title this credits. And for this, we're going to do directed by, actors, and camera operator. All right, so once we have our text created, then we're just going to go to our roll options again, and we're gonna start this off screen, and